If you're traveling to Rome from outside of Italy, the quickest way to get there would be to fly into Rome's Leonardo da Vinci International Airport. For those who are traveling to Rome from elsewhere within Italy or Europe, in addition to being able to fly into Rome, you also have the option of taking the high-speed rail or renting a car and driving to Rome. The rail system in Europe is extraordinarily efficient and cost-effective, so using the rail system to get around Italy would be my top recommendation. However, if you're looking for some flexibility in being able to get from place to place on your own time frame, renting a car is an effective option. If you plan on driving in Italy, the U.S. Consulate recommends obtaining an international driver's license before departing for your trip. For a better idea of where Rome is located in relation to other large Italian cities and what the traveling time is to Rome from those cities, I've included a map here for you to review. One thing that you'll never be in short supply of when you visit Rome is amazing things to see and do. Between the ancient Roman ruins, the city's many amazing museums and parks, and the breathtaking buildings in the Vatican City, there is a seemingly endless supply of things to fill out your itinerary. If you are in the process of planning your trip to Rome and would like some ideas on what to add to the itinerary for your visit, I'm going to outline the top 10 things to see and do in Rome in this video for you to consider. Considered to be the largest amphitheater in the world, the Colosseum, which is also referred to the Flavian Amphitheater, is one of the most famous landmarks in the city of Rome. Built between 72 AD and 80 AD by the Emperor Vespasian for his successor Titus, the Colosseum was built by thousands of slaves to the Roman Empire. At the height of its use, the Colosseum would sit upwards of 50,000 eager spectators to view gladiatorial games, sports, and was even flooded on occasion to host naval battles. The Colosseum is conveniently located near some other famous Roman landmarks, including the Circus Maximus and the Roman Forum, and is one of the stops for the popular hop-on, hop-off bus tours. If you're planning on visiting the Colosseum, I would suggest skipping the line and buying your tickets online in advance. Please be aware, large bags and selfie sticks are prohibited inside the building, so make sure you leave those behind in your hotel before you visit. If you're interested in learning about Rome's history during your visit, then you're not going to want to miss out on visiting the Roman Forum during your stay. The Forum is where you'll find a seemingly countless number of ruins of basilicas, temples, governmental buildings, public structures, and memorials. In fact, you'll find some ruins that date as far back as the year 7 BC. One of the most popular spots to visit is the tomb of Julius Caesar, which people continue to place flowers by to this day. In my opinion, nowhere else in Rome will transport you back to the days of the ancient Romans as vividly as a stroll through the Roman Forum. In addition to using the information I provide to you in this video, I would strongly recommend booking a guided tour of this area of the city. A guide will be able to properly explain to you what each ruin is and why it was significant to the city of Rome. While the Pantheon was originally constructed in roughly the year 27 BC, much of what you see today is part of the reconstruction that was done around roughly 120 AD by the Emperor Hadrian. This makes the Pantheon roughly 19 centuries old and one of the oldest structures that you will find in the city of Rome. The name Pantheon is derived from the Greek adjective that means to honor all gods, which helps to explain a great deal what the building was used for. It was constructed to pay worship to the Roman pagan gods of the time. On Rome's birthday, which is the 21st of April each year, when the sun is at the equinox, a beam of light shines through the hole at the center of the Pantheon's roof and exits through the grill above the entrance gate and lights up the courtyard. The fact that the Romans were able to engineer a building this way roughly 2,000 years ago is absolutely mind-blowing. Widely considered to be one of the most famous and beautiful fountains in the whole world, the Trevi Fountain in Rome is more than just a beautiful collection of statues and waterworks. Because the fountain is located at the junction of Rome's 3 earliest roads, it was given the name Fontana dei Trevi, which translates to mean 3-street fountain. What many visitors may not know is that the earliest version of the fountain was far from as visually spectacular as the current version of the fountain today. Unimpressed with the fountain's design back in 1629, Pope Urban VIII asked the fountain's architect Gian Lorenzo Bernini to improve upon it. The result of those improvements are the glorious fountain that you see today. Like many famous fountains, it is said that throwing a coin into the Trevi Fountain will make your wish come true, but with a twist. You must throw a coin with your right hand over your left shoulder with your back to the fountain. Throwing 1 coin in means you will return to Rome one day. Throwing 2 in means that you'll return and fall in love. Located between the Colosseum and Pantheon Hill in Rome, the Arch of Constantine is a breathtakingly beautiful stone archway that was commissioned by the Roman Senate to commemorate Emperor Constantine and his victory at the Battle of Milvian Bridge in AD 312. The location of the arch is significant in that it spans the Via Triumphalis, which is the route taken by victorious military leaders when they re-entered Rome after a successful military campaign. When you visit the Arch of Constantine in Rome, make sure you get close and appreciate the breathtaking detail of the stonework carvings in the arch. They are truly spectacular. Made famous by the 1953 blockbuster film Roman Holiday, starring Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck, the Spanish Steps have quickly become one of Rome's most popular modern tourist landmarks. Constructed between 1723 and 1725, the steps were built to connect the newly constructed Trinita dei Monti Church on the Finchen Hill to the city square down below. The steps were actually funded by a French diplomat and get the name the Spanish Steps because of their vicinity to the Spanish embassy to the Vatican, which is located in the Piazza di Spagna at the bottom of the steps. If you are planning on visiting the Spanish Steps during your visit to Rome, please be aware that you're not allowed to sit on the steps for any reason. You should also be very careful about where you're taking pictures of the steps because you're not allowed to photograph the Spanish embassy down below in the square. No visit to Rome is complete without also visiting the Vatican. While technically its own city, Vatican City is located near the heart of the city of Rome. One of the most famous and beautiful spots within the Vatican City is St. Peter's Square. Named after Jesus' disciple Peter, who Jesus said was the rock of his church and was the first leader of the Catholic Church, St. Peter's Square is used by the Pope when delivering important addresses. It is also famously where spectators come to look for the white smoke to indicate that a new Pope has been chosen when one is elected. Even if you aren't an overly religious person, you won't be able to help but be moved by the breathtaking beauty of the square and its historical significance. I would definitely recommend spending at least a full day or two touring the Vatican itself. In addition to using the information in this video, I would also suggest hiring a tour guide if you're able to. The history and insight that the tour guide will be able to provide during your tour to the Vatican City will be invaluable. One thing that the ancient Romans absolutely excelled at was creating entertainment. Most travelers to Rome are very familiar with the Colosseum and the role that it played in entertaining people of Rome with gladiatorial matches and battles. However, there was another venue in ancient Rome that played an equally important role in entertaining the citizens of the city. The Circus Maximus was a massive stadium that was used to hold Roman chariot races. Located between the Aventine and Palatine Hills, it was the largest stadium in the entire Roman Empire at the height of its use. However, it wasn't always used for happy, entertaining events. During the period where the Christians were persecuted by the Roman Empire, many Christians were crucified in the stadium. Today, this large area is used for sports activities, concerts, and public events. It is definitely a must-see attraction when visiting Rome. If there is one building in this world that symbolizes Catholicism over all others, that building would have to be St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. Named after Peter, the disciple of Jesus, the basilica was designed by Bermetti, Michelangelo, Mardarno, and Bernini during the Renaissance and is one of the area's most beautiful pieces of architecture. It is one of the holiest Catholic shrines and is known throughout the world as the greatest of all churches of Christendom. If you're planning on visiting the Vatican while in Rome, then touring St. Peter's Basilica is an absolute must. In addition to using what you learn in this video, I would also suggest hiring a tour guide when you visit. Your guide will be able to provide you with historical context that will make your visit even more special. If you are able to, I'd also try to arrange a visit to the tomb of St. Peter, which lies in the catacombs below the basilica. They only allow a small group of people a day to tour, so you'll have to book your spot well in advance. It was the single most humbling experience of my life to gaze upon the final resting place of a man who walked with and learned from Jesus himself. The Sistine Chapel is arguably one of the most famous chapels in the entire world. Located in the Apostolic Palace, which is the official residence of the Pope in Vatican City, the chapel gets its name from Pope Sixtus IV, who restored the chapel between the years 1473 and 1481. The chapel is most famous for the frescoes that decorate the interior of the chapel, including the ceiling of the chapel and the Last Judgment by the famed artist Michelangelo. In fact, Michelangelo's painting on the chapel ceiling is widely considered to be one of the major artistic achievements of mankind. If you are planning on touring the Sistine Chapel, in addition to the information you learn in this video, I would recommend booking a tour guide. Not only will they be able to provide you historical context that will make your visit even more special, but typically tour groups are able to jump in front of the line and get you expedited access. If you're thinking about taking photographs of the framed frescoes inside the chapel, please be aware that photography or videography of any kind inside the chapel is prohibited. While the temperatures in Rome typically don't get to be too extremely hot or cold, there is a pronounced difference in the average temperature throughout the year. During the winter months of December through February, low temperatures can dip into the upper 30s and high temps don't usually exceed the upper 50s. If you're planning on spending a great deal of time outdoors during your visit, you may want to avoid visiting during the winter months. On the other hand, the summer months of June through August can get quite hot. The average highs can reach into the upper 80s or even 90s. If you aren't accustomed to the heat or would prefer to avoid uncomfortably hot temperatures, you may want to avoid visiting during the summer. In my opinion, the late spring and early autumn months of May and October are the best months of the year to visit Rome from a temperature standpoint. The average high temperatures typically aren't too hot and the average lows are still relatively warm. If you decide to visit during these months, you also have the added advantage of avoiding some of the larger summer crowds of tourists visiting Rome. If you're planning on doing a lot of exploring outdoors while in Rome, then the last thing you're going to want during your visit is a lot of rain. For that reason, I would suggest that you take into account the average precipitation levels throughout the year before planning your visit. If you're looking to avoid wet weather, then you're definitely going to want to avoid the autumn months of September through November. These months typically see the most precipitation throughout the year. Instead, I would target either the spring or summer months, which tend to be much drier in Rome. One of the most important decisions you're going to have to make when planning your trip to Rome is where you will stay. When you travel, the accommodations you choose are oftentimes amongst the biggest expenditures for your trip. So not only do you need to be comfortable with where you're staying, but you also need to be comfortable with how much you're paying to stay there. Finding the right accommodations for your trip involves looking at the amenities, the location, and most importantly, the price. If you're starting to plan your trip to Rome and want some hotel and hostel suggestions, I've included some great options at different price points for you to review. As always, don't be afraid to expand your search to room sharing sites such as Airbnb or VRBO if you aren't finding a hotel or hostel that meets your needs. When most people plan a trip, their primary focus is on how to get there, where to stay, and what is on the list of things to see and do. What most travelers neglect to plan is where to eat when you get there. Granted, it is sometimes fun to be spontaneous when choosing a restaurant while traveling, and it is always smart to get recommendations when you arrive. However, it can also be advantageous to have some ideas of restaurants you'd like to try during your trip written down beforehand as well. This way, you can be assured that you won't miss out on a highly recommended culinary experience that you will regret. To help you decide on some restaurants in Rome to add to your list, I've included a list of some highly recommended options for you to review. There is an abundance of amazing things to see and do in the Rome area, and one of the best ways to experience those things is on a tour. If you're looking for some fun tours and excursions to fill out your trip, I've included some recommended tours and excursions at different price points for you to review. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram for more short videos and Instagram TV episodes, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more of my premium video content. And of course, stop by my blog to review my travel advice, guides, and travel itineraries for many of this world's top travel destinations.